Go to therapy.
Okay, so this week I'm going to start off with a little bit of an apology because I was hella late on the episode last week. Very late. I don't even know when we put the last episode out, but I think it was maybe 4 or 5 days past what it usually is.
You think one of these days we're going to get our shit together and then we just don't.
What's funny is there's probably barely anyone listening to it to begin with. So really, we were just late for ourselves, but because we're marks for ourselves, we want to make sure we can watch our stuff back. But yeah, no, we had plans last Saturday outside of the podcast to go and shoot some content for our music stuff. And we had rented a peer space together and all that other stuff. And then I just had to say, I was having a fucking clunker of a day. And I don't know about you, but sometimes that stuff just kind of hits out of nowhere. And it was, we drove all the way there. And then I just remember getting to a point, I was like, I cannot do this today. I was just in such a stupor. And it's weird because sometimes that stuff you could have a great day the day before, and sometimes that stuff just kind of comes out of nowhere. I know that you go to therapy and everything, so I don't know if you are able to avoid that stuff, or you could see it coming on and then you could kind of take care of it in therapy. But I've been out of it for like a year or so. So it was probably a good I was thinking to myself, yeah, maybe I should get back into that. I love therapy, but it's expensive. But
yeah, expensive. Pros and cons, because sometimes it's there's a lot of days you just are I really would rather do anything else but to show up today. I fall in the category of showing up to places that I'm not overly ecstatic about is the biggest chore in the world for me. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, yeah, I agree therapy is great. But it's definitely a thing where after a certain while, once you feel like a lot of your shit is figured out, and that's you're not going to figure out everything, but once you feel like you figured out a lot of the things that you wanted to go ahead and cover, it's okay, I can relax a little bit and chillax and kick back. And then it gets to a point where it's well, I don't really know if I should keep going or keep doing this thing. And to be honest, I feel like that is a great sign where it's you should keep going and stuff. I mean, I guess we are turning this into a quick session really quick, but for me, I feel like there's a lot of things that I've submerged that I don't really feel like covering and getting into in instances like therapy and whatnot, where it's man, I guess we have to go there, me and homie and dude bro. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day,
it's the classic male saying right there, by the way. It is what it is.
I shit you not. So completely separate side topic. And we could totally, this is a whole nother thing. So on my phone, I have a notes app of all of my tattoo ideas. It currently it's reaching 200. I plan on getting my whole body covered in ink, maybe aside from my face, and probably not my neck, but we'll see. But just about everywhere else, minus those places and genitalia and stuff, I'll be going head over heels in on. And my chest piece, a lot of people have some cursive stuff, some medieval stuff, something related to. For me, it's going to be, it is what it is. And I am not even remotely kidding about that.
Yeah. One of my favorite sayings is, it is what it is. And that's all it is. And,
that's true.
But yeah, it's very much I don't know. I remember LA Knight a few weeks ago when he came out to cut a promo against Drew, and then he took that sort of out of character moment to stare at the camera, and you could tell that maybe he was going through something, or it was just a really clever way to lead into the promo where he's just talking about, male masculinity and taking a minute to reach out and all that stuff. And I don't know, I just remember seeing that and be like, there should definitely be more of that. And it's funny because the last people that need to start podcasts are probably two white dudes in 2025. But if one thing we can get across, obviously, is some sort of, message of it's all right to, have those days and everything. And I don't know, I think just the other day, a part of it for me is that I my happiness is, unfortunately, I've like brainwashed myself to where my happiness is based off of how productive I am.
Oh, same. No, like that's actually so true for me.
Mhm.
I will absolutely kick myself in the teeth, metaphorically, maybe sometimes literally, when I have an unproductive day, when I told myself the day before that I'm going to knock out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It's just like in the modern environment, whether you're a man, woman, they, them, whatever in between, it's like, especially living in LA, which is a city of hustlers and everything, when you're not moving forward in your goals and everything, you feel like shit. And I think just moving into this new place, which has been great, but obviously, behind the scenes, there's just been a lot of setbacks when it comes to getting stuff set up. And I'm just kind of living in this chaos right now where I, because I don't have my shit where I want it and everything, I feel like I can't be creative. And if I can't be creative, then I can't be productive. And that just, it's a big cycle. And on top of that, getting bronchitis, I have like half the energy that I've had recently. So I think just last Saturday, even though we were supposed to go and do productive stuff, I just hit a wall. Had some other like existential moments or whatever. After a great Valentine's Day, went to Build-A-Bear, fucked that shit up.
Did you guys hit Grill 'em All?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we went to hit the Grill 'em All, went to the Mattel store, went to we did the Build-A-Bear thing, walked around a little bit more. So it was a good day and everything, like a great day. And then just the next day, a huge wave just like hit. And I just remember thinking like, man, because we were going to go shoot content. And I was like, I really don't want my picture taken today. And I'm worried about that, where if I'm having a bad day, it's like, I don't want it documented. Or one thing I really got to get over too is that I will hold grudges against inanimate objects. Like, so for instance, if I'm wearing a t-shirt and I have a really bad day, the next time I see that t-shirt in the dresser, it's like, I don't know. I don't think I want to wear that t-shirt.
Just wait until Jake gets famous and he has some kind of monster like documentary out with him.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's plenty of that flying around. It could definitely be a thing. But yeah, I just remember being like, fuck, man, like I don't want to have my picture taken. I'm in such a like dark, bad mood that I was just like, and then luckily, my girlfriend was just like, yeah, we don't have to do this. We'll just go home and all that. I felt bad because she was going to shoot content too. And then it turns out it was a rough day for her too. So anyways, we kind of had to get out of that stupor. And then I was just in the midst of my bronchitis thing, which has just been going on for weeks now. And I finally went to the doctor, got some steroids and all the good stuff, all the scissor. So I'm on that now. So at least I'm functional. But anyways, all I'm saying is that I hope that my Minty B mental breakdown or whatever benefited you positively by having the extra time with your content.
As we finished up, we were both like, yeah, probably couldn't have knocked out the things that I knocked out had we had, split it up, which I mean, obviously we were all super happy to, but, and to be honest, I say all this and I haven't actually even seen the footage yet. We've just been a little slammed left and right to even go ahead and work on post stuff with that. But, yeah.
What's friendship if you can't benefit from each other's pain every now and then?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but no, how did it go? What'd you shoot? If you
shot
can
some
tell the peeps.
I shot some. Do I want to call them music videos? Yeah, they were shot a nice music video. If it's not a music video, it's like pretty in-depth visuals on some songs that are out already. Go listen to Sadboicult, SADBOI cult.
Is this for Red Flag?
This is for the song "I Wish You Were Dead."
Nice.
The second song I released.
Positive anthem.
Yeah. Oh, dude, every song on my forthcoming EP is so positive and happy, and it's just about sunshine and rainbows and the best kind of people, and it's about love and positivity. And anyone that knows me knows I'm full of shit right now.
Yeah, you're the antithesis of Mod Sun.
Yeah. What does he stand for?
Oh God, it's movement. Fuck, what is it? It's clever. Fuck.
I'm gonna crack open this liquid death while he figures it out.
I know that. Well, Mod Sun, it was short for like Modern Sunshine, right, or something.
That's right.
Or am I making that up?
I think you're right. So,
what does Mod Sun stand for?
Liquid death. If that's even in frame focus, it's not. But whatever.
Not Mondstand. Mod Sun, who is also playing Warped.
Dude, I will keep going in on all of the people hating on Warped Tour. It's so funny. Like,
movement on dreams, stand under none.
so the antithesis of that, I'm not going to sit here and make one up. It's just go listen to sadboicult if you want to listen to the antithesis of that.
By the way, we didn't touch on, because the episode before last, you had your birthday. How was that?
I got pretty hammered in every place I went. Went to a Kings game.
You went on a bender.
I did. I went on multiple benders. Yeah, went to a Kings game, went to a bar that I had to stand 45 minutes in line just to get in the place. And what else did I do? I went to another bar. I went to the beach only to get stopped by police because it was on the way to Malibu, and Malibu's still closed to the public unless you live there. Watch the Super Bowl, watch the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh yeah, by the way, God is real, everyone. If from people that watched a few episodes ago, said a prayer, and I said that if the Eagles won, we'll know if he's real or not, and he was, and yeah, so praise Jesus. What else did I do? I got really kind of the same thing. Like I got a little in my head the day before about some stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna do something that I've never done before, and I climbed the fucking Hollywood sign. I just started from the ground and then hiked my way up there, got to the very top.
Your girlfriend told me that she quit like halfway through.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, it was just one of those things that like I will say this. That hike is way more intense than anything. Like I'm a little bit closer to Runyon, and Runyon, it's got some like intermediate hikes and stuff, and then it has a hard one. But I feel like you got to prep your way with some of those to really do that Hollywood sign hike. And I honestly didn't even take that into account at first, but yeah, trucked through it, made it up there, and it was a pretty sweet sight. What else did I do?
What about the presents? You get gifts?
I totally did, but I can't lie. I'm blanking on all. My girlfriend got me a ton of stuff though. Yeah, Funkos and vinyl and gift cards and all that fun shit. We also for Valentine's Day we said we had a thing on. We had a canvas that we have it's just been sitting in the house for like, man, I don't even know, almost a year. And we got inspired by someone to paint her butt, and that is what we did. And it was a very nice Valentine's Day activity. And it's gonna go up on our wall somewhere at some point, but nice. I encourage all couples to do that. It's fun.
I don't know why that reminds me. It's totally different, but at Disney we worked with somebody, and she had to be in her like 50s or 60s or whatever, and her husband was older than her, but they were definitely they were one of those couples.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, at Disney everything is very like you have to your whole outfit and all that's figured out. It's very proper and PG and everything. But she would show up to work very scantily clad, like we're talking way more than anyone.
She was dressed for Bar Sinister and not
yeah.
Disney.
Well, but and then older lady, like whatever, Rocket. But I remember that someone was telling me that because you go to your Facebook friends with your coworkers and stuff, and the stuff that her husband like would post of her is just like very like scantily like. Just very suggestive stuff, like white t-shirt, all that stuff, mm-hmm. Right? But someone told me that like they invited him over to like their house, and when like they went into her house, like she invited some coworkers over for a party type thing, and it was all the like older coworkers, none of the young people were going. It was all like people that were like in their 40s and above like went, and that when they went to their apartment or whatever, the ceiling and the walls were just plastered with like her like their self-made like nude like
hell yeah
nude art or whatever. Like she straight up, and remember that like I said, this lady's like in her 50s or whatever, just like 6 foot wide like full like display on the ceiling and everything. And it's just but how so I'm not saying that you guys do that, but like the painting is a much more creative way to go about it.
Yeah, so. I mean, hey, that couple's killing it in life, dude. Honestly, I don't who knows, I expect maybe Maybe some people get weirded out by that once they walk in the door. Some homies be like, "Hey, come," or people from work like, "Hey, come in, come hang," and then they see that, and I don't know. I think my girlfriend has a nice ass, so
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Well, look, I know it's not the same as painting your girlfriend's backside, but it is a little late. But I did get you something.
Oh shit!
For the birthday, it is a little late, so I have you open that up on the podcast.
Let's see what.
Check it out.
I think here's the size of it. I'm gonna guess it is a WWF Attitude Era replica belt, but we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe
no pressure.
Maybe if the podcast does better.
Hell yes. Yeah.
So what you're seeing you might be able to get one of these.
The
days.
first of many.
Yes.
These will be up for sale at some point.
So yes,
official.
He got the first ever Count Out Club logo shirt. And it is the first official because it was the first one I placed an order for. But then I figured while I was doing that, I was like, well, you know what? I can't just like let all the promotion be on him. So I got the second. So it's going to be interesting if one day you and I walk in wearing the same shirt, but you know what? Whatever. It's like, we got to be shameless self-promoters.
Yeah, we gotta shameless. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. And you know what? Give us a little bit of time and we'll have a shop with that. Look at that. That's great.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
You haven't even seen yet, but I went the extra step and I actually got us a throw pillow with the logo on it. So when the new set comes or whatever, you know, we'll be all branded out. So anyways, yeah, you'll be able to get one of these bad boys soon enough once we get more people to care about the podcast. All of that aside, I literally went through that whole mental breakdown thing basically to get to. I thought, like, what's a good segue to give Josh's birthday present? Let's talk about my woes. Let's talk about mental pain and like male masculinity.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And yeah, LA Knight, get on our podcast. Let's talk some mental health stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
The men need it.
We really do. We really do.
What you got for us this week?
So I don't do this that often, but I very rarely these days glaze up new shows. But anyone that is around that is, you know, a frequent watcher of TV series and stuff as of recent, I believe Severance, which I am officially caught up on. I started it last week and I am now caught up with the show. I believe it is the best. Oh my God. It is the best TV show in at least 4 or 5 years,
really?
If not more. Everyone do yourself a favor. I know that like
give like the 3-sentence like summary of what it's
dystopian
about.
World where you have yourself and then you are severed and split with another part of yourself that is only there for work, and they work for a company and they're in a cubicle, but that person, even though they are you, they're technically of their own characteristics and they're different, and you follow those people predominantly in the show as they try to figure out what is going on, because their first sense of consciousness is being in that office and in that company. And you obviously, like, there's a lot of, you know, inhumane things that kind of go on as the show progresses. The show isn't that long yet. It's, you know, we're halfway into season 2 right now, is where the show is airing, but it is so good. The season 1 finale is nail bitingly stressful in like the best way possible. Directed by Ben Stiller. And it's like a thriller, kind of almost horror show, but I'd say more thriller and suspense. And it really is a show where like at any minute, anything can happen. You really get that vibe. That isn't always necessarily the case, but it does feel like every scene, something really significant might happen, which is just, it is in terms of suspense and edge of your seat level on where you think it's going to go and the answers that you want and everything. It is so fucking good. And I know so it's on Apple TV. I know that Apple TV is probably, out of like all the major streaming platforms, the most inconvenient, because it's mostly just original content on there. You can't go on there and watch your favorite nostalgia thing because it's you know, it's mainly just original stuff, but it is legitimately worth it to, I think there's like a free 3-month trial. You can binge the entire thing and be good. And then the way TV shows are now, you won't go ahead and it sucks that TV shows are like this, but once a season ends, you know how the next season would start in a year. We live in a time now where that's not a thing now, and the new season starts 3 or 4 years from now. It's, you know, Stranger Things does that, The Boys does that. I mean, all the shows that air these days do that. It's really annoying, but it is what it is, and the show's no exception because I think season 1 was like 2022, and season 2 starting now. But it is that good, and it's so good that I'm literally taking time out of our niches that we usually talk about to talk about it. It's that fucking good.
Yeah, I just started Breaking Bad again, and I'm showing my girlfriend for the first time.
I've watched that show like 20 times. For me, that show is like a top 3 show of all time.
Yeah, it's so. Here's the thing: is it's not that I don't rewatch show. I mean, it's just a lot easier for me to rewatch stuff that doesn't have continuity. So being able to put on like South Park or something like that and rewatch that,
yeah,
or just random shows, Futurama. I'm sure there's something out there that's not a cartoon, whatever. But just it's a lot easier for me to do that, and I almost have to mentally prep to get back into a show like Breaking Bad because it's such a fucking like ride.
It is a roller coaster that just keeps ascending.
Yeah. And the ability to keep binging it and be like, okay, I've watched 2 episodes. We want to do 3. Do I want to sit here for 3 hours? You know, but I'm so glad that we did. And I didn't think it was a show that she was going to necessarily like or not because, you know, she has her own podcast called So There's This Episode, you know, a little plug. That's about basically, you know, Gilmore Girls and then, you know, Friends and stuff like that. So we ended up starting the show, and then, yeah, she just kind of became obsessed with it. We're right at the tail end of season 2 right now. So,
the OD and everything. Oh, or did I just spoil something?
Well, I was gonna say are you talking about with Jane?
Yeah.
So this part I'm gonna take out, or I'm gonna bleep because that's the part that Liz is gonna fucking hate. I mean, right now she does not like Walt. I think that's the no going back for her. So
because Walt only gets worse.
Yeah.
Like as the show goes on, or if you like really like just like people that kind of do bad things in TV shows, you know, maybe you'll get a bigger kick out of him as the show goes on.
Yeah.
But
it's tough because he starts off as just a regular good guy, but then, you know, that it's just the addiction to or not addicted to the actual product, but being addicted to
the game.
To the game. Yeah, exactly. But I was just telling her, I was like, there's going to be something, because she, like, you know, Jane obviously appeals to the girls and
the alt girls.
Yeah, the alt girls and everything. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, when Walt lets her die, like, and I have to, once again, I have to take all this out because like Liz actually like listens to our stuff, but yeah, she's not gonna have a good time.
Or you just show her it immediately before you post.
Well, we're actually, yeah, that's a good point. We're like on episode 12. I think
it's like right there.
Okay,
yeah. I think it's got to be the next episode.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. With that, I'm just like but it's getting so good, and so I'm really glad that I took the chance to like go back and watch it because I don't do that with a lot of shows. I would love to do that with Game of Thrones again. That she definitely won't watch with me, but like. Or Eastbound and Down. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I haven't seen that. Game of Thrones, though, is a show that I keep saying, like, I'm going to jump back into it. But it's such a chore, man. Like, sitting through 7 seasons, 90-minute episodes.
Yeah, they're basically movies.
They are all movies. Yeah. At some point, there's a certain point in that show where it's literally every episode is, you know, 80, 90 minutes. And once you're that deep into it, it's like, okay, you might as well just go all the way with it. But that's a show that and we can talk about this with even like How I Met Your Mother and Lost. That is, Game of Thrones is ultimately a show where like, yes, the ending has some problems, but I don't hate it the way everyone else did.
Yeah, I didn't mind it as much. I remember one of the last episodes being like so boring, but other than that, it was just like, because it was an episode where they just tied up all the political stuff, but I don't know. I loved that show for so many reasons. People are like, you just like it because there's fucking tits and dragons. It's like,
well, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're absolutely right.
But it's like there was so much more of that show. And for me, I break down everyone is a nerd one way or the other, but you tilt on one spectrum. And the one of the spectrum is the more like fantasy, like old time stuff, like medieval times, swords,
and
dragons,
the other
magic.
and the other is autism.
And the other is Star Wars, basically like, futuristic spaceships, laser beams, and all that other stuff. So we could see what's, well, it's funny because you also have a pirate ship.
Yeah, but this is my first love right here. We got Han Solo's blaster.
Yeah.
We got Stormtrooper helmet.
So I've never been a sci-fi guy in the sense of like, don't get me wrong, I'll watch movies that, take place in space. I got nothing against them, but it's just not my thing. This right here, though, this is my shit. Swords, swashbuckling, motherfucking pirates. And yes, he is in scale with all the WWE figures.
That is pretty insane. But here's the thing. So I'm
Paul Burchill.
I am in the I am in the middle of rewatching
Deep
all
cut.
of the movies. Yeah, Paul Burchill is deep cut. I'm in the middle of rewatching all the movies, and man, like obviously a lot of scene kids probably know about like where Bring Me the Horizon got their name from, because it's the final thing Jack Sparrow says in the first movie. But there's some other there's some other quotes and lines in Pirates that are legit like band names from like the Warped Tour scene and stuff. Someone's I think it was Will Turner's father that tells Jack, is like, Jack, you can't escape this fate. Or what
was the one that Barbosa says, like, there be what, like Dead Man Tell No Tales, Davy Jones. There's so many different. Actually, while we're on this topic, keep talking.
There's a few times where they talk about pointing north, and there's a band called Point North, so shout out them. But yeah, I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, and I didn't realize this until recently, just how much it is for scene kids, maybe not of like today, but of like the 90s and such, because God, there's just so many band names that formed from lines in that fucking franchise.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad that I never named my band after a Pirates of the Caribbean quote, but my last name is very piratey, I think, anyways, Bonesteel, so it works.
And that's like legit your last name.
Yeah, it's legit. People think I made it up and that like I changed my name. No, I just lucked out that way. It's in German. It's supposed to be Bonesteel, so there's that. But no, I was at a record store the other day and we're talking about pirates and music and all that. So when I was out, I was just like, you know what? I'll get something. I haven't bought a vinyl in a few months or whatever. I've been on my wrestling figure kick, as you might be able to see in the background, which, by the way, this is going to turn into a new, follow us on Instagram, because I'm basically going to treat this like the Rumble, and then we're going to open these on camera one by one. So, that'll be fun.
And then he's gonna film just him playing with them in the ring.
Yeah,
and throwing them all out.
You're gonna see the Count Out Club Fig Fed,
and he's gonna have like the most random of Rumble winners. It's gonna be like Tommaso Ciampa or Paul Burchill eliminating Charlotte Flair to win the Rumble or something.
Fight to run away. But I was just like, all right, yeah, I'll buy. I was at Amoeba. I was like, all right, I'm gonna grab a vinyl, but I don't want to spend too much money because I got rent coming up and everything. But then I found this little gem. If you've ever listened to Ailstorm.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Have you listened to Ailstorm before?
I mean,
it's not
in passing. I would say.
I'm gonna say because it's not your typical type of music. It's definitely down
it is literally pirate metal.
But they got the classics like "Fucked with an Anchor."
Yeah, "Fucked with an Anchor," banger.
So
literally.
We got that. God, what was their other one that was really big? I don't know if it's on this album, but regardless. So I found this $12. So shout out to Ailstorm. It's just a regular black.
Does all of their song titles have like raunchy? Like I'm thinking of like Shanty Her Pussy or like.
So I mean, this is what we got on the first label.
Yeah, that's not.
But God, there was another song that they were like super known for. I mean, "Fucked with an Anchor" was one. Like "Fuck you, you're a fucking wanker."
Yeah.
And like it's just cheesy stuff. "Drink," "Fucked with an Anchor," "Party," Mexico. Yeah, so it looks like here's the thing. There's like if you just want like this is probably a fun thing to put on like during a party or.
And they're not from the States, right?
No. They're definitely they're from Europe somewhere.
Yeah. Fucking Europeans, man.
They're the best. I'm saying right now, I feel like I have the right to say this because I grew up with European immigrants, but like Especially in 2025, not to make this political, but I like Europe more. It's just like, not that Europe is a country, I know it's a continent, but just I've enjoyed my time on that continent so much.
One of these days I'll get my ass over there.
Yeah, exactly.
One day.
You got I'm gonna try to go later on this year, so
Oh yeah,
open invite.
So one other thing I found out recently, a few days ago, Michin, I don't know who she sold this to or spilled this to. Apparently, weed is no longer banned in the WWE.
I saw that. Apparently
RVD is kicking his sheets right now.
Apparently, it's been a few years though, but like, yeah,
it just hasn't been public information. I guess that's why Matt Riddle was hanging out there for so long.
Oh yeah. And Randy Orton was that was like the most boss thing. You've heard that story about how Randy Orton like got fined $2,500 or whatever for smoking weed, and then he gave them a check for $25,000, and they're like, "What's this for?" And they're like, "For
the next time."
Yeah. So,
what a boss.
Yeah.
I remember. So I actually met Randy Orton in 2012. It was a very fast interaction, but again, dude, and I can go back and talk about all of the wrestlers I met at like that age, which was like middle of high school, and I didn't have good things to say to them. I just had like the first things that sprung to mind, like with no filter. So I walked up to Randy Orton, and he just came back from suspension for weed, and I remember I met him, and I was like, man, that really sucks that they suspended you. And he's like, yeah, man, it was really fucked up. It was really fucked up. And that is my story of meeting Randy Orton.
Hey.
I also asked JR, out of all the things to ask JR, do you think they'll sell your barbecue sauce at the merch stands? He's like, honestly, buddy, I don't really know. I'm not sure if they'd allow that here, partnership stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I just didn't really have interesting thing. I met the Usos, and I was like, get Rikishi to do a 6-man tag with you guys, and they didn't say anything. Like,
yeah, no, it's tough. You definitely got to plan out what you're gonna say if you are gonna say something. Otherwise,
even then, like last year, I met Nakamura, and he was booked for the Battle Royal, for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and I told him straight up. I complimented him on the WrestleMania 34 entrance, because it's one of the most hype entrances of all time. Just Alice Cooper's daughter shredding while he's doing his Michael Jackson dance walking down. It's so sick. And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, well, thanks, man.
Michael
I
Jackson's daughter?
Alice Cooper's daughter. But he was doing the Michael Jackson dance.
Oh, you mean Alice Cooper's guitar player? I don't think that's his.
Yeah, his guitar player. Sorry.
Yeah.
But and I was like, hey,
Nina
Stratton,
something like that. Yeah. She rocks.
And I was like, hey, cool, thanks. Hope you win the Battle Royal. And he's just like, no Battle Royal for me. And that was it. And then turns out, yeah, he was booked for it, and then for some reason that I guess we'll never know about, he just didn't end up doing the Battle Royal, and Bronson Reed won. But
well, he's getting a push now, so guess it's all good.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, he is the champ, but he's not really doing anything. Same with Braun Breaker. And I'm sure Braun will like defend that title at Mania or something against AJ or something adjacent. But like both of them, all of the mid-card champs, while we're at it, Lyra Valkyria is like just super dry right now in terms of like the stuff that they're doing with her. She was taking the job in that Chamber qualifying match. And then Chelsea Green's not doing anything. And a lot of people are going to complain when like a lot of those belts just won't be defended at Mania, because at this day and age, they're only, doing 5, 6, 7 matches max per night. And you got to fill those spots, obviously, with your draws. And in comparison, they're not there.
It's a weird place to be right now, where there's just so much good stuff and so much talent. It's just hard to fit it all and to care about all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely stuff that's going to fall by the wayside. I don't know if you saw, but they also announced like the WWE ID titles.
So those are they're not staying on the WWE rosters.
Yeah.
They're going to like fucking
independent and all that stuff.
GCW and things like that, right?
Yeah. So it's, but it's interesting. I mean, wrestling, I was telling someone the other day that I think I'm as deep in my fandom as I've probably ever been, at least since like, the mid 2000s or whatever. So it's definitely, I'm at the height of it in at least since, I don't know, 2006, 7, 8 or whatever. So I don't know. I love it. But once again, there's so much to keep up with. And even with Raw kind of getting shorter, it's just I don't know. There's just a lot going on. But, you know, it's not a bad thing to complain about.
Yeah, it's that argument of, do you want more where some of it doesn't feel as important, or do you want less where all of it feels important? It's just one of those things, because you got Raw, you got SmackDown, you got NXT, you got Evolve, you got these ID titles, you got Speed, you got all of these things. And look, I'm sure that there is a percentage of people out there that actually do keep up with every single thing down to the bone. I know that I know this isn't a great example. I'm just thinking of like your average like incel people at home, just not really having much to do. But Rick Rubin has said that, like, who's like, you know, one of the most famous music producers of all time. He watches wrestling 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I believe he's one of those people that probably keeps
I bet
up
you
with
he
all of it.
watches wrestling while he's producing it, because, you know, Rick Rubin like proudly doesn't do anything technical.
Yeah.
He doesn't run the board. He's just more of a
He's a
facilitator of
he
ideas.
oversees. He kind of says an idea in your ear. If you get frustrated, he'll tell you to go to his book wall and just look at a sentence, and that will be your answer. Like, he's very guru-esque, which
It's like, hey, Anthony Kiedis, how about instead of yabba dabba doing on every song, give me that under the bridge.
instead of saying California every other word, how about try Wyoming?
Like, under the bridge, I don't know. It's just, I like, if I show it to the guys, they're gonna think I'm a little wuss or whatever. He's like, and
guys,
then,
Anthony, they already think you're a
yeah,
wuss.
yeah, they already.
You
like,
might
just
as
come
well
on.
just embrace it.
It's just
Gosh, Rick, I don't know.
let John do what he does, and now, because of Rick Rubin, not only do we have countless other records, but then we also have Under the. I went on a big thing. Well, I won't even get down, but I was on such a big rabbit hole of the John Frusciante
Frusciante.
like rabbit hole, the whole River Phoenix, like just all that stuff. But then it just like how good of a guitar player he is, and in a band that no one ever really thinks, like the common person doesn't really think like, wow, like they have crazy guitar work, but I mean he's just insane. Anyways, one last ADHD run, and then we'll get back on this, because this is important about our future sponsor. What do you feel about stevia?
Oh shit, that's upside down. Whatever, it's over there. Sponsor us, Liquid Death.
Because I've been seeing
I'm not
of people,
a fan, and also,
what is it though? Because here's the thing, maybe it's because I don't drink coffee, but I never noticed the taste of stevia. But everyone has been complaining lately because Liquid Death went from agave to stevia, and now if you just go on their comments, it's just all like, you know, what the fuck.
so this is a mental thing for me that is a horrible example, but it's gonna come full circle around. Breaking Bad, and we can't elaborate because your girlfriend's not all the way there.
Yeah,
but
that's why you don't like stevia.
That it's like that was my intro to stevia.
Okay.
And then yeah, obviously, you know, tried it a little bit, but it's always gonna be in my head like, that happened. But I mean,
yeah. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen with anyone that is consuming the Liquid Death product. But it's just one of those things where like I see everyone, I was like, honestly, I haven't really noticed, but no, that's not true. Like I think a little bit, but yeah, apparently that's a thing. So anyways, you can get this back on track. I just, apparently there was an ingredient change and people have been flipping out about it. And I guess I noticed it a little bit, but I've never really I never noticed stevia before. So
which one is that? Root beer?
Yeah, this is root beer wrath.
Interesting.
So there's root beer out of the new soda ones. There's root beer wrath, Killer Cola, Dr. Death, which is my favorite. Someone was telling me that like one of your friends is really into this stuff too, like the sodas. Lily?
No, wait. Yeah, I don't know.
I just remember when your girlfriend was over here cutting vocals, I had one of these, and then she was just like, oh, well, we were hanging out on Josh's birthday with someone, and they said that they were obsessed with these. So
with Liquid Death, I don't remember.
Like with the soda Liquid Deaths, not the sparkling waters.
Maybe it is Lily. Yeah, potentially. And if it is, it's like a brand new thing that I didn't realize. But
shout out Lily.
Yeah.
So
homie.
Yeah. Anyways,
go Birds.
You know, thank you for letting me derail. Anyways.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we were gonna go ahead and we were talking about this a little while ago. We're talking about the best PLE posters that we've ever seen, or like just in general throughout the entire history of WWE. Like there's so many good ones, and we were just going down a rabbit hole of like what are some of your favorites and shit. And God, like
we made a list. Now to clarify something real quick though, one of Josh's superpowers is the ability to list, to make lists, to compile things.
I love my ADHD list.
His notes app is probably biblical at this point of just different things, whatever list of movies, bands. You already said you had a list of 200 different tattoo ideas. I don't even know. Like I want to get covered up too, but I don't even know what my next thing is.
Dude, this is why I wrote like 70, 80 songs lyrically, and all of that was ready to go before I even jumped into Logic or anything like that. I just have a lot of thoughts,
To put it in perspective, after this podcast, he is probably going to go down a major list of activities and things for WrestleMania weekend, which I have barely put any thought into. So yes, you're like much more prepared than me. So I threw together a list. I mean, you threw one together kind of at the same time.
Yeah. And I'd be really surprised if most of these don't clash, because yeah, I'll give quick honorable mentions real quick. New Year's Revolution 2007, DX is signing the Declaration of Independence. It's silly as fuck, but yeah, it was cool.
So should we do this where you do your honorable mentions and then I'll say my 10, you do your 10?
Yeah, for sure. My other two honorable mentions, WrestleMania 31. Now it is pretty basic. It is just them staring into the camera. But the people that are staring into the camera are it's a group of people that you will probably never see in one place ever again. And I also feel like extra nice about it because I was there and it's one of my favorite shows of all time. But like so Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Skinhead Triple H, Sting, Daniel Bryan, The Undertaker, all in one poster. When are you ever going to see that again?
That was my first WrestleMania. I had been to plenty of events before that, but that was my first WrestleMania.
And then my final honorable mention. This one's newer and it's not like super mind blowing, but I liked it, and also just that PLE in general, how good it was. I feel like just kind of hypes it up or keeps that poster a little bit fresher in my mind, a little bit better. That is Survivor Series 2023. Cody Rhodes with the war paint. It's just, I don't know, it's fire. It's simple, but it's nice.
Right on. So I'll start with number 10. My number 10 is super plain, and part of it could just be drinking the Kool-Aid because I love the event so much. And when I was growing up, I really delved into the ECW and the lore. But the ECW One Night Stand, that's my number 10. And I know it's simple. It's just the ECW logo, black background with One Night Stand in red, and then the date in big letters. But there's just something just so simple, so straight to the point, so iconic about it. And the event was just killer. And unlike anything I think WWE ever did up until that point, and it just sticks out as a highlight.
Yeah.
I remember getting that pay-per-view in my friend Max.
That show is insane too, from beginning to end. My number 10, also relatively simple, and if you talk to a graphic designer, they might even shit on it and say it doesn't look very good, but you know what? Fuck them. Number 10 is Invasion 2001 of the fusion head between Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon. It's just iconic. It's like it is a poster that you remember throughout the years more so than a lot of other ones. It's so simple, yet it's so powerful, I suppose.
Right on. My number 9 is SummerSlam 2003. That's the infamous one.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. That's the infamous one with Sable, where she's like not wearing anything, but she's holding the SummerSlam logo, to cover the bits and bops and all that. Now the reason
bips and that's going on the notes.
It's got to go on my list of the Jake-isms, but Bonesteelisms. But the reason that one sticks out to me is because when I was a kid, like 11, whatever, when that came out, I just remember it being so. It just dogs sniffing around in the background. It was just so. Like seeing that on store shelves was, what's the word I'm looking for?
It was like very taboo. I remember that my mom, I wanted to buy that on DVD and my mom thought it was porn.
Well, so here, the reason why I put this on my list is because there's a story with it where me and my friend Max went to go buy wrestling DVDs, and I forgot what I got at the time. I think what I got was the Rise and Fall of ECW, which came out in like 2004. This was at Circuit City. That tells you how long ago this is. and he got that, and I kept pointing it out in the car, like, you know, that he picked out something that had like, yeah, there's a naked lady on it or whatever. And I remember my friend like just getting pissed because his mom, he's just like, dude, he's like, it's just a wrestling pay-per-view, calm down, it doesn't have it. Like he's getting a little embarrassed. like I could tell, like, you know, because his parents were in the front seat or whatever, and then you're kind of like, oh, Max, what did you get?
What did you get?
Yeah, so you know, that one sticks out to me just for embarrassing my home dog. All right.
We're good.
Not sure what that is. Yeah, just start over with
my
yours.
number 9, keeping up with my McMahon streak here, but I think it'll end real quick, is the Royal Rumble 2006, where all 4 McMahons are looking down at you in gladiator Roman Empire like
so
robes and shit. And
Royal Rumble 2006.
Yeah, that was one that Rey Mysterio won. And also that stage was really good.
That's where they Shane stabs Vince and then is doing the Shane dance in the promo and everything for it.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah. The entrances are like 30 people are coming out, and they have 2 like people opening the gate for them and everything. It's just a really, I think they might have done that in the 90s as well at one pay-per-view, but yeah.
First Lita cameo.
Yeah.
On the podcast.
There's Lita.
She's chilling in her little penguin sweater. Figured, you know, hang out with the boys. So what are we on? 8?
Yeah.
So my number 8 is WrestleMania 2000. Mainly, part of it is probably a nostalgia thing just because it was on the N64 cartridge, just seeing that logo all the time. But also, if you go back and look at the poster, it's just dripping with Y2K isms and everything. It's like
it's very, very Matrixy.
Yeah,
lots
very
of green.
Matrixy. The giant globe and everything. There's just an aesthetic, and you see it all the time in bootleg merch and everything now, like kind of going back to that style of that late 90s, early 2000s, where everything was super 3D or glowing, shiny. Like it just has there's just something about the aesthetic of merchandise and graphic design from that like 1999 through 2001 that just I don't know, it's completely an era of its own.
Yeah, that's fucking sick. And I mean, yeah, we don't have to go in on the pay-per-views itself, but that's just such a standout show from beginning to end. I won't go as far to say that was a great WrestleMania, but there's just moments there where it's
probably my favorite match of all time, the Triangle Ladder.
Yeah, that Triangle Ladder match is a banger. But yeah, I mean, it's such an overbooked show. I think there is not on that show. I think it's the only Mania and perhaps one of the only WWE pay-per-views where there's not a single regular one-on-one match. There's some sort of stipulation or multi-person thing, or you know, et cetera with it. But yeah, it is a sick poster for sure. My number 8 is the Royal Rumble 2001. It's just got a bunch of Attitude Era stars on it, kind of animated, and they're standing outside of a building. I always thought it was like a saloon or a bar or something, but I don't think, looking back at it, that the poster specifies it, but it's just one that sticks out in my head a lot. Yeah.
Right on. My number 7 is WrestleMania 12. There's just something super cozy. Actually, I got the logo right here. It is just show and tell today.
Does it come with Vince McMahon screaming, "Oh, what a ride"?
No, but like the Shawn Michaels does have this is like my GOAT figure right here that came out this last year.
That is pretty sick.
So, you know, he's got the thing that he slides down on. But yeah, that WrestleMania 12 logo, which is basically like the 20th Century Fox logo. It's just, there's something so cozy about it.
Where was that?
Yeah. Technical difficulties.
So the Rumble 01, but yeah, I think I finished with that.
Yeah. So we're at I was just explaining WrestleMania 12. So so you're at 7.
Yeah. So number 7, Unforgiven 2006, which is John Cena, black and white, yelling, but he has the word unforgiven etched and carved into his chest. And as an alt kid, something about that, I don't know, as like a 10-year-old, I was just pretty blown away by that. And it stuck out with me. And also that pay-per-view is just so fucking good.
Very emo of him.
Yeah. Cena going emo. Yeah.
Going Cena.
Cena being a scene kid.
Wow, yeah. There's something there.
We've seen enough.
There's a bootleg shirt there. My number 6 is going to be Survivor Series 98 Deadly Games. That's basically the skull that has the tattoo on it. And I don't know, there's just something. I remember I had that pay-per-view on VHS, used to watch it all the time, and they actually used that logo as the main entrance as well. Something just super nostalgic to me. I like just seeing Austin come out to that, and the Deadly Game theme song, which was on the WWE anthology.
Yeah.
So it just sticks out to me. It's just that's a good one.
Right on. This is a very, very hot take, but I'm doing it anyway. Number 6, maybe even a little high, but fuck it, we ball. It's really new, but I remember just thinking like that is the hardest shit ever. And then of course he gets buried for the next, several months. Last year's SummerSlam, where the entire new bloodline pulls up in that car.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I thought it was so sick. Everyone looked like a fucking gangster, and then poor Solo Sikoa gets buried for. He just hasn't come back since. So
yeah, well, he's back.
I mean, he's back, but he's not. The aura is gone.
In that same vein, number 5, this one I just kind of threw on there because I was looking through stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that one was cool. Is Armageddon 2002? There's a point where they're just putting Tori Wilson on a bunch of posters, but Armageddon 2002 is very. It's very medieval. Her with the sword, and the armor and everything, just kind of hits all the mix of wrestling.
Hits all the
fantasy.
niches.
Yeah.
My number. What number am I?
5.
My number 5, Royal Rumble 2008, where everyone is fighting in a subway on their way to Madison Square Garden. Also, that poster's sick, but it's also. They filmed a really sick commercial for it that...
Was that really 2008? I thought that was like 10 or 2010.
No, Rumble 2008, that was in New York City. I think 2010 was like Atlanta or something like that, but...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here. So that is your... Let's see here. My number 4, that's what we're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, I'm going to go... This is probably the most recent one on mine. Once again, playing into the niches and everything, is WrestleMania 36. Technically, you could say 37 too. I prefer the 36 one a little bit though, which is the Pirate WrestleMania that they were supposed to do in Florida, which I had tickets to. Obviously, did not end up happening.
What happened?
I don't know. Something went down. It's just some sort of worldwide situation. But the poster's fire. So now here the tragedy though is I don't think it's gonna be the least revisited era of wrestling probably ever. Is the pandemic?
It definitely has the
wrestling.
least amount of rewatchability for sure. Even like the shit times in 2019 are more watchable.
Yeah. Now, like maybe the cinematic matches and everything you could
Firefly Funhouse
and the Boneyard match and all that. But yeah, anytime wrestling and pirates mixes, it's basically my entire personality. So
yeah,
with that one.
My number 4 is New Year's Revolution 2006. My GOAT John Cena in what feels like an adult animated form, just hat covering his eyes, chamber right behind him. There's like a blood colorway just in it. It's so sick, and it has stuck with me for almost 20 years. And I went to WrestleCon 2 years ago, and they were selling a bunch of chairs from old pay-per-views and stuff. And I've told myself, like, I don't mind getting some down the line if it's like something that I could have gone to that was like kind of, not too far from my area, like within a few hours distance. Now, New Year's Revolution isn't one of those. I think it was in like Albany, New York or something like that. But this is the one exception because I just love that poster a lot. So
yeah. My number 3 isn't even that great of a poster, but I'm putting it on there out of pure bias, which is the first wrestling event I ever went to, which was my bragging right. I'm gonna mention this pay-per-view 1,000 times throughout the series of this podcast, but SummerSlam 2001, basically it's The Rock just doing his thing or whatever, but it was my first ever wrestling event. It's going to hold a special place in my heart. And one of the things that I've been doing as I've gotten back into collecting and deciding to waste all my money on wrestling stuff, besides wrestling figures, is going back and looking at particular pieces of merch or memorabilia from specific events that I went to. We were just kind of talking about that a few minutes ago. And for me, SummerSlam 2001 is a big goal, just to get like whatever I can get my hands on, especially original of that time. And as we continue, the most show and tell episode we've had so far, I have opened Pandora's box by going down the vintage WWF shirt route.
Oh no, there's no going back from that.
Yeah. So as you know, if there's anything more expensive than wrestling figures,
it's vintage wrestling shirts.
Yeah. But this one right here, I'm pretty stoked on. So I was able to find a dead stock SummerSlam 2001 shirt, which is legitimate, made by the company that was making their shirts and everything at the time. And I mean,
oh god, does it have the card on the back? That's sick.
Right? So
that's awesome.
So this is the front. We got basically the event.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Dude, that's fire.
Right? And then on the back, you got like the event date and everything.
Fuck
right?
yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Guess how much this cost me?
How much did that cost you?
I found this on eBay through like some vintage like thrift shop person who had like 3,000 shirts on their store. And I sometimes I like to search like WF or something, like misspell stuff, because people don't give a fuck about wrestling in the real world, right? They had this for $40. I countered, and like I made an offer for 25 free shipping.
Wow.
And they took it. Yeah. So now when I looked on their profile, they didn't have a whole lot of wrestling stuff. It was a bunch of other just like thrift junk. So I don't think they knew what they had.
No, they absolutely didn't.
But this is like a brand new like dead stock, like not worn or whatever, or like, and I was just hell yeah. So anyway,
that is
yeah, that was a find. So anyways, I'm just saying on eBay, one of the things that I've learned is don't go for the most obvious WWE, like put in misspellings, put in little things like that, spell stuff differently, and you'll find stuff like that people just they either don't know what they have or they don't care.
I'm pretty googly eyed over that shirt,
right?
For sure. Like one thing that I still do collect, and it's just like a random task hobby, is like getting rid of stuff, selling it online, finding new shirts, stuff that's vintage, stuff that is reprinted.
Your Depop or your
Josh 182 _ on Depop, 96 coffins on everything. That's my DIY clothing brand, very graffiti, crust punk-esque type shit. And never ending merch on Etsy. But yeah, I love I just like clothes. That's that. Yeah. I just like my clothes. So yeah, I'll definitely go ahead and look for some more on there. Is it my turn?
Number 3.
Number 3, Judgment Day 2008, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, ex-con, orange jumpsuit, walking through that prison, bunch of people above him just riling, going crazy, and Triple H just looking like, I mean, it's one of the scariest. Like, put yourself where that camera is, just facing down, angry orange jumpsuit Triple H in a prison. I can't think of too many things more intimidating than that. And yeah, it's so hard, and I love it. 2008 was such a good year for WWE posters, and I personally am not even done, but I'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah. My number 2, going back to 10 years before 2008, 1998, which for me is probably, or it's just so many people. It's one of the most iconic years of wrestling ever. And SummerSlam 98 had...
God damn it. Yeah. It's my number 2 as well.
Is that your number 2?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. So yeah, SummerSlam 98 just like created the entire monster versus monster, like King Kong versus Godzilla, Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin in New York. Basically, like they each have some sort of New York landmark.
Yeah,
in their
Austin
hands
has like
swinging.
part of the Statue of Liberty. I think Taker has... Is it the Empire State Building he's holding?
Something like that, but it's just so iconic, and that I love that pay-per-view. A lot of people don't like that match because they say that, you know, Austin and Taker never really had a whole lot of chemistry. I love that match, even though Austin gets knocked out in it. It's a whole thing. Like that entire pay-per-view, I just love. And yeah, that post, that's something I would definitely get framed and have up. So anytime I see stuff online like shirts, memorabilia, chairs, and all that, even though it wasn't an event that I was at, obviously because I was a youngin'. And on the opposite side of the country, I just love that event.
I'm going to have to agree with, I think I would, at some point in life try to find a poster for that pay-per-view to hang up somewhere.
It's just so cinematic.
It's so cinematic. And also the best part about that show that the WWE, just any network or platform that event is on, now it's on Peacock, that they just fucking pretend like it didn't happen. The Oddities entrance with Insane Clown Posse.
Which is such a banger.
The greatest show should have been nominated for a Grammy.
Everyone comes in the greatest show.
And you had like, it just cuts to like girls in the crowd doing the hey-ho, usually with like skimpy shirts or whatever. Jerry Lawler ejaculating in his seat. And what a time.
Yeah, what a time. All right, so for number one, I'm going to fast forward back to 2008, and we're going to talk about our boy. You know what? I don't have.
Where is he?
Yeah, no, he's.
I think he's right. I think he's above your head.
Ah, here we go. The man himself, Mr. Juke, Jeff Hardy. If at this point you probably know what we're talking about, it's the Jeff Hardy Underwater No Way Out poster. There's just something so fucking iconic about it. And the fact that I don't know, Jeff Hardy looks like a sea creature that you would find in the deep ocean, especially with like the dyed hair and everything. If I found myself in a submarine going down to the Titanic, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Jeff Hardy just swimming around down there.
If you could paint Jeff Hardy any sort of image alternative wise, like a deep sea creature, he fits the mold. It doesn't matter, like any sort of gothic alternative niche, underwater, haunted houses, you know, punk shows, fucking, I don't know, just anything. Like hey
man, I'm a fish.
Yeah.
He's just like
I'm a fish, be triangular.
Yeah. Be here or be triangular. So, and you know, he's probably just swimming around down there looking for the thing about Jeff Hardy. Please make this into a reel because everyone has to know. Jeff Hardy, in my opinion, is the most widely is the most wide appealing wrestler of all time. If you're white, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're black, you love Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, literally, I've seen TikToks of African-American dudes going like, name 5 people that get, name 5 white people that get a pass. And Jeff Hardy is on a lot of those.
Or the top white people. But yeah, if you're white, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're black, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're Mexican, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're LGBT queer, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're trans, you love Jeff Hardy. If you're an alien, you love Jeff Hardy. There are aliens in some other universe that are just specifically. Jeff Hardy might just be an alien himself.
He absolutely is.
So,
he's just hanging out in North Carolina. His neighbors calling him some slurs. And he's just hanging out, just painting.
Yeah, and he's just being chill. If man, woman, child, whatever, you love Jeff Hardy. If you don't, then you don't have a pulse. Jeff Hardy is just the most wide appealing wrestler of all time, in my opinion. He's just everything. So, anyways, we could glaze him. This podcast is basically Jeff Hardy.
We're gonna have a weekly glaze session. Last week we had Papa Roach. We were glazing Papa Roach. This week we're gonna glaze Jeff Hardy. Let us know
week after.
And every week after. But let us know who we should glaze next week. But yes, with that said, No Way Out 2008 is, in our opinion, it is the greatest PLE poster of all time. Let us know who we should glaze next week, but also let us know what you think the best PLE poster of all time is. And let us know why we're so wrong, apparently.
Yeah, maybe we should actually use that poll feature on Spotify. We'll just put up like a little poll of who to glaze next. But I mean, Jeff Hardy is just going to be a constant. He's just so good. So I think that this week, besides a few technical issues, you guys are seeing a little bit of improvement. We have different cameras, different lenses, so we'll see how this edit goes. But sorry it was late last week. Gonna try to be more on time this week.
Remember when we said next week we'll actually be in a different spot? Well, for real this time.
Don't get me started on the entire lighting situation that I've been going through. I'll save that for another one because we're running along here. But all that said, I think it was a fun one. So make sure to go check out. I mean, we're dropping this Friday. So what's today? Are we dropping this tomorrow?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay,
Until then, go to therapy.